If you invest in Florida or any coastal market, flood zones can change your numbers fast. Two houses that look identical can have completely different insurance requirements, building rules, and long-term risk. In this video, I'll explain the main FEMA flood zones, investors see, what they mean, and what you should verify before you buy. For investors, flood zones matter because they can affect whether flood insurance is required for your loan, the cost and availability of that insurance, and if you're building, it also tells you what you have to document while you build. So here's the key lending rule. Federally regulated or insured lenders must require flood insurance when a building is in a special flood hazardous area. This doesn't mean that lenders wouldn't require this type of insurance by themselves, but as a rule, like the federal rule would be that if it's in a special flood hazardous area, they need to insure the property. Now, obviously, the flood zone does not mean a property floods every year. It means that the map is describing the probability that it could overflow. The hazard is there, and it could happen twice a year, or it can never happen. So you gotta be careful. It's not something that's certain, and it's not certain that we know for sure it's gonna happen, but the probability is there. So as you can see from the map, if you take a look here, it says Zone AE, and it says here Zone AE and Zone VE. So Zone AE is a detailed study zone where FEMA provides a base flood elevation, which we were discussing before. FEMA defines the base flood elevation as the computed elevation to which flood water is anticipated to rise during the base flood. So basically, if you imagine a little bit like in construction, which I have a little drawing here. So if you see this drawing, you can understand the base flood elevation, right? So you need to fill this area in order to avoid the water when it floods right here. See how it says base flood elevation? This is what they mean by BFE, which is commonly the name they use. So there's another zone, right? The Zone A. And Zone A is also a 1% annual chance flood area. But it might not have the same detailed elevation information as AE because it depends. It depends on the studies of the map. And obviously there's the VE, which you can see it right here, the VE right in the corner. VE is like you're gonna get hazardous conditions. You are gonna get hazardous conditions, so you gotta prepare for that. So are you gonna buy a ranch house, for example, in a VE area? Obviously not, because it doesn't have an elevation that's sufficient to be able to hold on to the hazardous conditions, the flooding that comes with hurricanes. So here's a simple due diligence checklist. The first thing that you need to do is confirm the FEMA flood zone, right? On the flood zone insurance rate map, you can confirm there like the BFEs. You can confirm whether it's in a flood zone. Number two, if the property is in a special flood hazardous area, assume a lender will require flood insurance if you're using a federally backed loan. So you need to remember that you're going to be required to have flood insurance. Number three, if it's a Zone AE or VE, look for the BFEs information on the map and ask for the seller's existing insurance details if available. Remember, even outside the special flood hazardous areas, your lender might still require flood insurance. And now, if you want, you can comment your zip code and I can help you figure out which flood zones are the most common in that area. And obviously, as always, if you need a realtor in the Tampa area that knows these things and is familiar with these situations, just, DM me. Let me know, and I'm here to work with you so that you can get the best deal possible. Thank you so much.